Amir Essalhi is here with me today. He was a former staff member at Scientology's organization in Edinburgh, Scotland, called Happy. He started reaching out on the internet while he was on staff in Scotland and started watching videos and reading the internet, which is a taboo subject in Scientology. Scientologists are not supposed to do that. But anyway, Janis and I interviewed him at the time, and we asked him about what it was like working in a Scientology organization. Since that time, of course, he got in trouble. He decided to leave. Well, he came and visited us here in Las Vegas last month for Janis's 70th birthday, along with apostate Alex Barnes-Ross, and Danielle Chamberlain. And we're going to talk about his visit here to America, his impressions of all the suppressive people that he met at Janis's birthday party. And we think you're going to enjoy this video. Stay tuned for Amir. Welcome, everybody, to our channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion. My name is Mark Fisher, and I'm happy to have you here on this great day today. I've got a great guest, somebody that we interviewed before when he was still on staff in Scotland, in Edinburgh, Scotland, and then he is since no longer there. But he came to visit us here in America, in Las Vegas, last month for Janis's 70th birthday. And we're going to talk about his trip here to America, plus what he's been doing up to date and everything. So without further ado, let me bring on my guest today is Amir Essalhi. Hey, Amir, how you doing?
Hey, Mark, what's good, man?
Yeah, you look good. You're looking good. Where are you right now? Back in Scotland?
Back home in Scotland, yeah. Just came back from London. I've been very busy, so I'm now back home, yeah.
Yeah, you're looking good. You're looking good. We'll go ahead and get started. Last time we interviewed you, you were still on staff at Happy as in the public division of the Scientology organization there. And at the time when we interviewed you, we just wanted to talk to you about what it was like to be on staff there nowadays. And so we held your interview, of course, until you later on let us put it on because we didn't want you to get into any trouble. But then, of course, they did find out that you were doing these interviews. And why don't you tell the viewers what happened to you after that?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what's so special about that interview that we did was you literally, not many people can say that they interviewed an actual executive on post, and we shelved that thing, and that was like a proper undercover video, and I was like, Mark, Jen, like stick it on the shelf, and then when I tell you to put it out, I'm not going back in the next day. But yeah, I was speaking to everybody. I was speaking to Alex, and I was speaking to Aaron, and I was just speaking to absolutely every single person that they didn't like, because I felt after being put into the public divisions and I was hearing kind of all of this stuff, I thought it was my duty and obligation to seek out the truth. And so I just wanted to speak to absolutely everybody. It felt like a witch hunt, with the interrogations. I was stuck into ethics, and I was seen by several different people. And it's like, okay, well, let me see your phone and who are you talking to? And okay, you need to block this person. And who else are you talking to? And here's a website called Stan League. I'd never seen Stan League before, by the way. Here's a website called Stan League. And look at this guy. He's an anti-Semite, and he's also a religious bigot, and you can't speak to him. And anyway, they were just... These guys are not too big on freedom of speech and being able to.
No, they were trashing everybody.
Yeah, to say the least. To say the least, yeah. But I refused, Mark. I refused, and it's our basic fundamental right to be able to speak to whoever we want to speak to, right? And they didn't like that, so I went through way too much unnecessary punishment. And I decided that I wasn't going to go back in the next day, and that was that.
So did you actually resign or quit, or did they fire you?
I quit. I publicly quit. So I walked out. I went out. So I went upstairs. I finished the day, finished my post, right? And then I went upstairs to my office and I stuck all of my commendations, every award that I had, everything I was highly commended for, my suit, my tie, went into my drawer, took my belongings, went out of the emergency exit, downstairs. It's a very old building, Happy. It's been there since 1960. It's so old that is where they do the ghost tours in Edinburgh. So I was going down the spiral staircase, down to the bottom, out of the emergency exit, jumped on the first bus home, and I publicly quit. I went live with Alex the same day, and I said, this is what they did to me, and I'm not going back, and I quit. And then for some reason, they kind of threw like a petty back of the head shot, and they sent a letter to my house 2 weeks later saying, Amir's staff contract is terminated because he's guilty of this and this and this. And I was like, I publicly left 2 weeks before that. But no, I take pride in quitting.
Yeah.
I did.
That's great. That's great. Well, anyway, so then you had the opportunity to come over here to America last month, which was in May. It's for Janis's 70th birthday here. She had a big gathering of former Sea Org members and some of her closest friends. And we had a big gathering here. And you came over here with Alex Barnes-Ross, Apostate Alex, Danielle Chamberlain, and then, of course, there's you. And you came to Las Vegas, and was this your first time to America?
No, second. I came in 2018, and I went to New York, and I went to Washington, D.C. So I was just a kid. I was just a kid in high school when I went for the first time. This is the second time, but it was the first time to Vegas and later to Arizona. So that was a new experience for me, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, anyway, this is the first day you got here. I took you, the three of you, along with me, and we went down to the Las Vegas Strip, and we went to the Treasure Island Hotel and parked, and then we walked across to the Venetian Hotel, and then we walked around there. And of course, this is your experience eating lunch, I guess, the first time at a restaurant there. What's the food like in America as opposed to England? Pretty big portions,
to say the least. So, by the way, you're a legend for even, taking all of us to see these different places. So I really do appreciate that, Mark.
But, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, you took us to this place, and that's me. And I'm like enjoying the free refills because we don't have we don't really have that kind of thing. So I'm just like refill after refill. And the guy's like, oh, can I fill that up? And I'm like, yeah, please do. And the food that I like I like burgers and I like fries and stuff. So I ordered that. That was a monster. That wasn't even a burger. I mean, you couldn't even pick that thing up. Like the dude literally gave you a steak knife to cut it in half. But yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I remember Danielle had like a salad and it was so big, and then Alex also had a big burger or whatever, and it was you had to cut it in half in order to be able to eat it. It's so big.
That's right.
But anyway, then we went down to the Venetian Hotel and we walked around there and got to see all the different things around and it was your Alice in Wonderland, right? The movie, not Alice in Wonderland. Sorry, Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is playing at the Sphere here. Yeah. We didn't go to the movie, but we walked around the mall at the Venetian, which is where the Sphere is located, and they had all this Wizard of Oz decorations and things, right? And you enjoyed seeing all that, right?
Yeah, big time. I mean, I'm a massive movie buff, so I was totally geeking out over that, getting loads of pictures. We went past the Sphere. We walked around so much. We did a lot of walking, but it was incredible, and the weather was quite something as well.
Yeah, it was hot that day. It was over 100 Fahrenheit, which is, I guess, 40 something Celsius. But it's dry. But we went and you did that, and then of course you did a lot, not in sequence, but you and Alex, you went down to the Strip several times, and even downtown, and walked around down there too, right?
Yeah. Well, me and Alex were sitting down at the table, and we were like, okay, what do we want to do when we're here? Because we're in Vegas. You got the UFC headquarters. You've got the pawn shops, and you've got Floyd Mayweather's boxing gym, and you've got all this really, really cool stuff. And we were like, what can we do? Like, what can we actually get done whilst we're here? So we were just planning out, and we were Ubering to all these different places. We did an unbelievable amount of walking, especially with Michael Oz as well, just an unbelievable amount of walking. So we just tried to get as much done as possible, really.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought about it afterwards, because when I was your age. I'm a lot older than you are. But I forgot that when I go someplace, like if I went to London, for instance, I would have unlimited energy and I would want to spend every minute of the day that I could out seeing things. Whereas, an old fogey like me in Las Vegas is like, oh man, I'm tired. Okay, you guys go ahead and go downtown. I'm going to go home to my dog and then I'm going to go to bed, right? But I was amazed. Then the next day I found out, oh yeah, we went downtown to Fremont Street and we walked around, or we went out to the UFC headquarters, or we walked the strip from the MGM all the way back to the Trump Hotel. I just was like, you know what? I probably would have done the same thing if I was, on vacation somewhere. And you guys jammed in a lot of stuff in a short period of time.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I honestly, like, do you know what the funny thing is like me and Alex were like, me, Alex, and Daniel were sitting there thinking like, we haven't even hit everything. Like with the amount of stuff we're going to the firing range and going here and going there, and we were like, we still haven't hit everything yet in Vegas. So there's still a lot to do.
Yeah, and then of course I had offered to take you all. You said you wanted to go to the Grand Canyon before you all flew over here, and Alex was asking me, hey, what's a good tour company to take to the Grand Canyon? And I went, right here, man. I'd love to go to the Grand Canyon. I'll take you guys, So I drove. It's about a 4 or 5 hour drive to get to the south rim of the Grand Canyon from Las Vegas. And then you guys, got a Airbnb in Williams, Arizona, which was really nice. And so we stayed overnight there. And then we came back the next day and we stopped in Arizona at this place called Oatman, Arizona, which I'll show some photographs of. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hadn't been to the Grand Canyon in years.
Yeah, there we go. Route 66. Yeah. Do you know what's so funny is everyone was taking pictures with this sign and I never understood the significance of it. And I was just like, and then Danielle was like, no, trust me, you definitely want to get a picture by this sign. So I'm just kind of like leaning against it there. And then obviously on the way back, I'm like going on my phone and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, Route 66, for the viewers that don't know, that was like the first, it wasn't an interstate highway, but it was the first highway that you could take from the East Coast to California, the West Coast. And it was like a 2-lane road. This is back in the 1920s and 30s and stuff. And so it's very historic and sections of it are still existing. And Williams, Arizona, which is where we stayed in the Airbnb, was one of the towns on the old historic Route 66. So they take a lot of pride in that. And the other place we went in Oatman, Arizona, which I'm going to show some pictures of, they also were on the old Route 66. And part of it was really a windy road, right? When we were driving, I decided on the way back from the Grand Canyon, let's go to Oatman because it's a little town, like an old mining town. It only has like 100 and something residents, but it's got like 1,000 wild burros, wild donkeys, and they roam the streets and people take pictures with them and all that. So I thought that would be fun. But then you drive down this windy road, you know what I mean? And they used to call it Killer 66 because back in the day, when, if you drove it at night in bad weather, you could fall right off the edge. And that was a lot of fun doing that, right?
It was. I mean, that would be a very bad fall. That whole route was amazing. When you would stop, the view as well was I have several pictures of it. The mining town was fast. I honestly, for that time, could fantasize about being like John Wayne. Like that was and we had the whole Clark Gable thing as well going into that.
Oh yeah, I'll show the photos of the hotel here in a second.
Yeah,
but before we did that, we went to the Grand Canyon. That's you up there on the Grand Canyon.
That's
and
right.
For people who don't know, if you go like another 3 feet, you would drop down about 2,000 feet. He's right there.
Like, don't go far. Don't take another step back. Yeah.
But it turned out to be some great photographs,
Oh, it's stunning.
And there's Danielle Chamberlain on the left and Alex Barnes-Ross, also known as Apostate Alex. And they both were on the journey with us. And we had a great time, really great people. Really enjoyed their company. As a matter of fact, the whole drive, we didn't even have music on. We were just talking the whole way. It was a lot of fun both ways, 5 hours each way.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff.
There's me. I'm actually standing on a lookout. It doesn't look like I'm not on the edge. There's a railing there, so there's no way I'm going to be able to fall. But that's me at the Grand Canyon. And then there's you and Danielle on the left. I put these two photos together. at the Grand Canyon. And then on the right, the Colorado River cuts through the Grand Canyon. And that's what created the Grand Canyon, was the Colorado River, and you can see it there. What was your impressions of the Grand Canyon?
Never seen anything like it in my entire life. I was there, and then I had to remind myself to take my sunglasses off so that I could actually see all the colors and see it a little bit better. But it was, I've never seen anything like it before. It's stunning.
Yeah, that's another good point too, that I had to realize when I used to go on travel trips and stuff, is that you get so into taking photographs with your camera and looking through the lens finder that you don't take a second to actually look at what you're looking at, not through the lens. Do you know what I mean? Because the vast vista at the horizon is just amazing. So I try and do that. I'll take photos, but then I'll just sit there and I'll just look at it and really try and appreciate what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's stunning. And you just, you put down your phone and you sit up there and you breathe in the air and you see the view and you see all the colors. And I don't think any of the images can capture how deep that thing is. Like, you are ridiculously high. Like, wow. And not everything is railed as well. Exactly.
Well, you're actually at 8,000 feet above sea level, just where we were viewing. And then you're looking down, so you're really high. Like, it's in the desert, but it actually was chilly. I mean, it's cold, it was a nice temperature. We went a good time of year. It gets hotter, later in the year, but it's actually comfortable because you're like 8,000 feet. It was just pretty nice. And of course, here you are on the top of the world here.
That was your idea as well. Do you know, I was kind of, because I knew to stand on that rock and I knew I wanted to see what it was like. And it was just, I don't know, it was, in the moment, it seemed like a cool thing to do or whatever. And I was like, should I stick my arms out? And then immediately after, you were like, stick your arms out. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and the reason is cool. To show how vast. I mean, it basically, you get a better scale as to how big the thing is. Plus, also, so people can see you. Otherwise, if you had your arms down, it just looked like, you were just standing there with all those people behind you. But, it actually makes you look much more vast.
I'm flying, Jack. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's flying. Anyway, and then here's Danielle and you. We went out to dinner in Williams. We had a good dinner there. Danielle's a wonderful person, very smart, has a tremendous story about her time in Scientology and her husband, Neville Chamberlain, who recently passed away. And she was great fun to have on the trip, right?
Danielle was great. I mean, I would love for everyone to go and check out her story and go read about it and go watch Alex's channel to go and see it. We just did an event where Danielle was speaking about her story in East Grinstead, Sussex, near St. Hill, and everyone was in tears. Everyone was in tears with several stories. So she has an unbelievable story to tell, but she's great. She's great, and you'll know by the stories as well, right? The stories that we all shared in the car, and she's awesome.
Yeah, just so our viewers know, we interviewed her a couple of years ago, but she literally was on the flagship Apollo in the Mediterranean when she was like 12, 13 years old. And that's what her story was. And she was abused when she was on the Apollo, and she tells that story. It's very heart-wrenching. But she stayed in Scientology for many years and married Neville Chamberlain, who also was a longtime Scientologist. And stuff. But her story is very, very wrenching, and it's worth watching and seeing. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. And then here we are in Oatman, Arizona. Like you said, you felt like you were John Wayne there. There's Alex and you.
Yeah, he's got his cowboy hat. He just bought it. He's got several cowboy hats now, Alex. But I can't even remember. I think we were standing there and it said Jack Hess. And I was like, oh, Alex, look, that's you. And he's like, great, thank you very much. But yeah.
And then there's this hotel, the Oatman Hotel, historic Oatman Hotel. Is built in like 1902 and is still standing there. And it's famous because Clark Gable and Carol Lombard, they spent their honeymoon there. They got married in Kingman, Arizona, and then they spent their honeymoon in this hotel. And so they still have the room set up the way it was when they were there as kind of a museum. But one of the things that the hotel has, a restaurant and a bar in there, is that they encourage people to put $1 and they'll staple it on the wall. And you can write a message on the dollar bills. Well, they estimated a couple of years ago that there were over $300,000 worth of dollar bills on the hotel. on the walls. And of course, there's many more than that. So we encouraged Alex to do one, and so he did. And that you can see on the left is just all the dollar bills everywhere, but on the right he wrote, "Scientology is a cult. Where is Shelley?" And he wrote "Apostate Alex."
It's great. It's good. We all sat at the table having ice cream.
Ice
You
cream,
can also get ice cream there. And I'm like having I had like a pistachio ice cream, and we were all eating, and we were like, you do realize that we cannot leave this building without having put $1 on the wall. And I don't think anyone is ever going to know what that dollar is. I know it's like zoomed in right there, and we can read it. I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to find it though. But Alex was so many of them. There's so many of them. And Alex went away. I think they gave him $1 or something, and they gave him a Sharpie or a pen. And he went and he wrote something, and then he was like, "Okay, can you get a picture of me?" And he went, he put it on the wall, and then that's when I started to read Scientology is a cult, where Shelley, and he just stapled it onto the wall, and it's immortalized in that building now.
Yeah, it was a great message to put up there too, which was really wild. So when we got back to Las Vegas, of course, for Janis's birthday celebration. And I was busy doing interviews for everybody for the video about Janis's birthday. Now, I have to apologize to you because I interviewed you, but then when I went to edit the video, I had no sound. It was just you. It was just no sound, so I couldn't use it. Yours was the other one that the sound didn't come through. But anyway, I was going to use that.
I don't take it to heart, Mark.
No, it's okay. But anyway, here's a group photograph of not everybody, but pretty much a lot of the people. And there you are in the front left. I kind of zoomed in on it, and you were amongst all of this suppression, And I wanted to ask you, this is at Terry's house on Sunday, her ranch, and we had a horse show, which she boards horses and owns horses and all that, and it was quite great. We had great breakfast and stuff like that too. But I was going to ask you, what was it like to be amongst all of these suppressive people?
It's the evil 2.5%, right? It's the most, vulgar people in the entire. No. I can't say that. No, everyone was amazing. So I don't think I'd met anybody there before. Obviously I'd spoken to you and I'd spoken to Janis, and we'd done a video, and that was great. But going there, I don't think I'd met any of those people before. And we just got along like that immediately. And I don't know how many conversations I had. I don't know how many people I sat down with and had unbelievable conversations with and had drinks with and stuff. And, we were at Janis's house, then we were at Terry's house, and then we were at so many different places. And we were talking by the pool, and it was great. It was great. I mean, I got along with absolutely everybody there. Some people's stories were just, wow. Like I'd never heard them before. Some of these, I think even you told me, Mark, that, some of these guys could still be running Scientology today if, certain things didn't happen to them, right? But they were... Mm-hmm. Everyone there was incredible, really.
Yeah. So we weren't all evil ogres or anything like that.
No, well, I don't know about that, Mark. But
do any of the stories or any of the people that you talk with stick out? That you'd like to mention? Anybody that you really were impressed with or that you enjoyed talking with?
I was pretty impressed by everybody, to be honest. But Stu was hilarious. Stuart was
Stuart Moreau.
Oh my God, I'd never met Stuart before, but he was like extremely funny, to my surprise. But he's great. Terry was amazing. I'd never met Terry before. I'd never spoken to Terry before. I'd never even seen what Terry had looked like. There we go. There's Terry right there.
There she is. Terry's on the left, and that's Karen De La Carriere in the middle, and Janis on the right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I was going to ask you about Terry because Terry was really impressed by you. We talked about you afterwards, and she was like, "Wow, he's really amazing."
I mean, the three of them in this picture are unbelievable people. Seriously, Janis letting us stay there, and Janis is I would have to do a video on Janis. She's unbelievable. We'd have to redo that video on Janis, Mark. We'd have to redo it. Karen, I can't say enough about. Karen's story is ridiculous. Like, the more I learn about Karen, the more that I talk to her and listen to her story, is just like on another level. Terry's amazing. I'd never met her before. I'd never spoken to her before. We had several conversations. We'd stayed at hers for a little bit. I'd spoken to her several times. I'd spoken to her partner as well. Got to know her family a little bit more. But she's great, and she's got an unbelievable collection of hats.
Yes, and saddles, right?
Right.
Yeah, just so our viewers know, that's Terry Gillham Gamboa on the left, Karen Diller Carrier in the center, and Janis Gillham Grady, of course, on the right. And Janis and Terry were sisters. Terry's the older sister, but Terry and Janis were on the flagship Apollo as kids, teenagers, and they were two of the original Commodore's messengers for L. Ron Hubbard. There were two of the very few of them. Spent 6 hours a day, 7 days a week with L. Ron Hubbard all through their teenage years. Terry, eventually, she was like the commanding officer of the Commodore's Messenger Org at one point. And then she, when they did the whole corporate sort out of Scientology in the 1980s, she was in charge of the special unit that did that, run by David Miscavige. He was the special projects operator. And then Terry became the executive director of Author Services, which was L. Ron Hubbard's for-profit corporation, where all of his book royalties and movies and properties and all that was managed. So she was that. She was the executive director of Author Services. Miscavige did not like her after a while and got rid of her, basically. And then she and her husband, Fernando, they were the first to leave in early 1990 because she'd had enough. And when she left, they followed her with private investigators across country with her husband. And then they met up with her in Nashville, Tennessee. And she's told this story that while people were in the hotel room talking to them, they had private investigators break into their car and to go through their things to see if they'd stolen documents or anything like that, because Miscavige was so paranoid. Because Terry knew everything about the IRS and the corporate sort out and this and that. So she was a major target that he wanted to keep an eye on. And then, of course, Janis and I and her husband, Paul, we all left in the summer of 1990. And one of the reasons was, we thought Miscavige was going crazy. And we thought, well, Terry's out there. And then Janis was out there. And I thought, well, I'm not going crazy, so I'm going to leave too. And then, so we all did. But so Terry is very successful as a real estate agent here in Las Vegas. She has been for years, specializing in ranches and horse properties. And she loves her horses. She has a huge ranch that she built and boards horses and has her own horses. And of course, her husband Fernando passed away a few years ago, but she's still there running it. And of course, everybody knows who Janis is. But it's just great having them out there and stuff. So I'm glad you got to meet them.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't be talking about Scientology here, Mark. This is the most ethical religion on the entire planet that's out there to save mankind. We can't be talking about that. It must be somebody else that you're confused with.
Yeah. Well, and that's why you said, I said, the people you were meeting at this show, at the thing, they could have been the ones running Scientology and keeping it following L. Ron Hubbard and keeping it on the rails, But of course, Miscavige had to get rid of anybody who was connected to L. Ron Hubbard and basically get rid of them because they knew what L. Ron Hubbard wanted to have happen, and Miscavige wanted to do something completely different. And so he got rid of these people, one by one.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, I have no words. I mean, the more that I learn about David, I'm just like, I don't know what to say about this guy. I mean,
that was my next question. I was going to say, did you learn a lot more? I mean, since you've left staff in Edinburgh in Scientology, Janis and I made a point of not talking about the negative stuff when we talked to you on our show. We just wanted to find out, let you tell your story. But I'm sure you've heard now a lot more of the things that happened. And what was your now? Did it change your viewpoint much, or?
It's a great question, Mark. I'm not a scholar in Scientology at all or regarding the subject, and just because I've read several books and I've was involved in that life for 4 years and was an executive and have my story and stuff. Like the more that I speak to Janis and Terry and guys that spent 7 hours a day with them, like I'm just like, fair play. I don't know anything about it. The more I speak to these guys, I'm like, I don't know anything at all. And it's the same thing with David. Same thing with COB,
Yeah.
where I hear stories from you, and we sat down and you shared stuff with me, and I sat down with several other people, and they're telling me like verbatim what he's saying in these meetings and in these briefings and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God, wow. But
and we don't come across as liars, right? We're not
no.
not everybody could be lying, right?
No, I mean everybody has the same story. Everyone says the exact same thing, right? It's crazy, Mark. It blows me away.
Yeah, no. The only reason I say it is because Scientology says that we're all liars and religious bigots, and this and that, and like we don't have a bad harmful bone in our bodies. I mean, I don't know anybody. We all wanted to help other people. We all wanted to help mankind. We weren't these evil people trying to suppress Scientology. We just wanted the good things about Scientology to be promoted and pushed forward, and not take it the direction that it is now. In Scientology, so I'm glad you got to meet everybody and came away with a good impression.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many people that I wish I'd spoken to more. I wish that I had more time with Dee Dee, and I wish I had more time with Jackson. And there was so many people to spend
He's
time
saying
with.
Dee Dee Riesdorf, who was the original Watchdog Committee chairman and was the former CEO, commanding officer of the Communist Messenger Org, and worked with Hubbard along with Janis and Terry for many years. She was there. And then Jackson is Gary Jackson Moorhead, who was the head of security at the Gold Base for many years. So they've got great stories to tell too.
Yeah, unbelievable stories. Yeah, absolutely. They're awesome, man. They're awesome.
Well, so now you've gone back to you left the United States and went back to the UK, and tell everybody, what have you guys been up to lately? I've seen photographs of you with Alex at some of the hearings and things like that. So why don't you tell everybody what you guys have been up to?
Guys, if you knew 3% of the stuff that we've got going on, I mean, it would just blow you away. Obviously, I can't talk about everything that's going on, but there's a lot of big stuff happening behind the scenes. But what I will say is I spent amazing time with you guys in the States, and then we went back to London, spent time with Alex for a few days. That was great. Went back here to Scotland, then back to London again, because we had our big event where we had nearly 50 people show up to this event in East Grinstead, like near St. Hill. And
what was the event about? What was the event about? I don't actually know what it was.
It was basically everybody just telling their stories, and it was raising awareness about it. So we threw this event in a church, actually. I think it was Trinity Church or something like that in East Grinstead.
East Grinstead is the home of St. Hill Manor, which is L. Ron Hubbard's former home. Yeah.
Right. So we held it there. Amazing. Scientology tried to fair game a church. Just amazing. I've never seen it before. But they were calling up and they were trying to get it canceled, and they were trying to meet up with. Just unbelievable how a religion would. So I say religion, right? Unbelievable how they would do something like that. I don't know that I like calling them a church or religion, but so we threw this event. It was very successful. I was with Pete Griffiths, and we spoke about the IS, and Zoe Hancock went up and told an absolute heartbreaker of a story that she went through. Zoe's amazing. Zoe's absolutely amazing. And so did Danielle Chamberlain came up, told her story as well. We had several speakers. That was an unbelievable event. And then after that, I believe it was the next day or something, we went to Downing Street. So I believe, because in Downing Street in the UK, in London, that's where the Prime Minister is. And I would assume
that's the home of the Prime Minister's famous number 10 right. Downing Street, right? Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I believe the equivalent to that is the White House in the US.
Yes,
I think
you're right.
So yeah, we just went to the front door. I don't think anyone can do that.
I was going to say, how did you do that? I mean, you just walked up to the front door. How did that happen?
You would need to ask Alex. Alex is now, because of the work that he's done, and he does. It's not like he uploads regularly on YouTube and stuff. He's doing a lot of things behind the scenes that he can't even talk about. But he is very good with members of Parliament now, and so he's getting more and more people that are in Parliament on his sides So a lot more people are getting him into rooms that he needs to be in and getting him into places and to speak to people that he needs to speak to. So it's progressing very, very nicely for him. And a lot of this is behind the scenes. So we went, I had to fill out a bunch of stuff. You go through security, blah, 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 blah. You go to, the number 10 door, and you hand in your petition. And it's amazing, actually. It's amazing.
Can anybody go up there and knock on the door of the Prime Minister, or was that unusual?
I don't think so. Because there's a massive gate that's there. And
I've been there. I know what you're talking about. You got to go through a gate to even get into this courtyard to get to the door.
Right. I mean, I've never seen it before. Literally the first time I've ever been there. But yeah, you have this gate, and then you have armed officers there as well. You have to go through security. It's very well guarded. And I think you have to be nominated or something to even go and hand in your petition to that door, to go straight to the door. So it was a very big deal. And to get all of those stories and to get all of those signatures and to hand it directly into that office is a pretty big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really amazing. I mean, for our U.S. viewers, it's the equivalent of going up to the front door of the White House, knocking on the door, having somebody open it up and hand a petition that's going to go to the President of the United States. I mean, that's the equivalent. I mean, it really is an amazing feat.
It's not a small thing. Yeah. It's a big deal, man. It's big. Yeah, I mean, stuff's happening over here.
Yeah, Alex is amazing. I mean, we talked about that when he was here. I've known Alex now for a couple of years just from doing shows, and I've met him a couple of times because he's come to visit us. But he really is. He's really good at public relations. He's a really good speaker. He's very knowledgeable, and he can answer questions in an intelligent way. And he's very impressive. I'm sure he's impressive to the members of Parliament and the city. The Sussex, East Grinstead councilmen and things like that.
Council, Yeah. I mean, there's several. There's also the Mid Sussex District Council. Which is Superior. There's several, but he knows his stuff. He tells me that he has sometimes no idea what he's doing, and for 3 years he's been winging it. But he knows his stuff. Alex, he's a clever guy, and he doesn't publicize a lot of things on YouTube. He doesn't kind of upload every single day. He'll kind of come on and address what he needs to address and stuff. But he's he's working on an unbelievable amount of things behind the scenes that when it comes out is going to be quite something.
Yes, he is. Now, the other thing too, I think right after you left too, didn't an article come out in some major publication that you were involved with shortly after you came back from the U.S.?
I think so. I think I might. Yeah. Actually, it did. I think it's the Mother Jones.
I forget. What was in it? Yeah, Mother Jones. That's what it was. Yeah, I was going to say a different magazine, but yeah. So there was an article that you were involved with, right?
Yeah. It was a really cool thing, actually. Essentially, Anna, who is the journalist, worked with Tony Ortega, and Tony, I think, went to Alex for a comment because the whole piece was on social media, and then Alex, which was very kind of him, said, well, if you want to get, kind of like a good take on that, then you should totally go to Amir, because Amir is fresh out of it and was also PCS, the Public Control Secretary, or Public Contact Secretary even. So I did a lot of that. I did a lot of lectures. I did a lot of social media, and I did a lot of TikTok. And all of those videos are taken down now because they can't have me up anymore. But I did a lot of that stuff. So I spoke to Anna. And we spoke for, several times on the phone, and we were messaging and did some stuff. And I spoke to some other people, and we were working on it for a little bit. I think even before I came to the US, we were working on it. And then it came out when I just got back into England. It came out, and it's just a great piece tackling, because there is this new kind of push on social media and on TikTok and on Facebook ads and on all of this stuff, which is funny because I kind of came to this realization, right? From my experience, from my personal experience, the more mystery there is to Scientology, and the more that people don't know about it, the better, because you don't recognize it. If you see Dianetics, the modern science of mental health, you'll go and you'll try a stress test. If somebody comes up to you and says, do you want to try a personality test? You'll go and try a personality test. You will buy a book called Self-Analysis. You'll do a life improvement. If you don't really know about it so much, then it's like it's the intrigue, the mystery. It's quite interesting, and it's quite successful that way. Especially that's why like foreign people always bought into it. Where the building is in Scotland, in Edinburgh, it's on 20 Southbridge, which is right next to Waverley train station. It's tourist central over there. I mean, it's right next to Princes Street, the busiest street in all of Edinburgh. But it's interesting that the more attention that seems to be on Scientology, whether it's, even if we take Tom Cruise, the most famous Scientologist in its entire history, if we take Tom gets nailed for every time he talks about it in an interview or jumps up on a couch or raves about psychiatry or something. He gets nailed for it. And David went and spoke to Ted Koppel and he just got nailed for it. Like, all the comments are bad. And it's the same thing where if Minneapolis go and start their TikTok page, or if San Francisco go and start their TikTok page, the two most followed, liked, viewed Scientology TikTok pages, if you go and look at the comments, they just get hammered. It's so bad that there's a setting on TikTok where you filter out keywords. So they had to go and put, okay, Shelley and Xenu and this and that. And so you cannot comment those words. They just get shadow banned basically. But it just seems to be interesting. The more attention units that go onto it, the more they get nailed.
Well, exactly. And that's the public relations image that Miscavige has brought out. You know what I mean? I mean, it's all happened, after 1990, you know what I mean? Where, they started, secrets of Scientology started being exposed, and, there are attacks and there are private investigators and this and that. And they built up a huge, bad public relations image. And of course, once the OT levels were released on the internet, that also was a mystery that most Scientologists didn't know about, and all of a sudden it's all over the place. And so now Scientology has such a negative word. Now, whereas you and I know, and other people know too, that there is some benefits from Scientology. There are things that they believe in that I think other people would believe in, their anti-drug stance and their education stance and things like that. But because of the bad public relations that's been created over the years, they're shrinking. When we talked to you when you were the public control secretary, we asked you about, well, how do you overcome that when you're trying to get new people into Scientology? It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. I mean, there's a reference by LRH, there's a policy by LRH called the dissemination drill, and part of that policy, which I can't tell you how many times I drilled and practiced that policy. I mean, it was like every single day. Okay, now we're going to drill a dissemination drill. Okay, Amir, pair up with the flag representative. Anyway, there's so much drilling on that reference. But you contact the person, which is the first step. You sit down with them. Hey, man, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And then the second step is handle. Hey, man, so have you ever heard of Scientology before? And then it's a yes or no. It's nope, never heard of it before. Okay, cool, that's fine. Then you can skip that step. Or, yeah, well, I kind of heard this and that and that. You have to handle it. You have to handle it. You have to handle any black publicity, any black PR. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And David plays such a massive role in that, because why do you have to go and beat people up? Why do you have to jump up on a table and go strangle somebody to death? I mean, it's attempted murder, strangling somebody until their face goes purple. How vulgar he is. I don't why is that necessary? So he is such a big part in Scientology's overall PR with just the crazy, outrageous stuff that he has done. He's not made it easy for any of them.
It's funny you mentioned the TikTok videos, because I'm on TikTok now and I post some of our, clips from our videos on there. But I've been seeing some of the Scientology TikTok videos here in Las Vegas, and they're absolutely hilarious. They're funny to me, having been a Scientologist, but they literally, I mean, the ones in Las Vegas, I mean, the people, the staff, they look good and all that. They're dressed up and all, but literally they're talking about Scientology. Oh, let us show you inside the building. And they walk you into this building and they're showing you around, and it's really well, taken care of and nice and this and that. But there's no people. There's nobody in the building. It's completely empty. And I mean, we went by the outside of the building. It's a huge building. It's their ideal org here in Las Vegas that they opened in 2010, 16 years ago. And it's got a huge parking lot, and there's no cars. I took Alex in there a little over a year ago, and we went and we walked around, and I went, there's nobody here. There's like 5 cars in the parking lot that could hold 200 cars, you know? So it's really funny that they're doing these things and they're showing it, but they've missed the biggest outpoint in front of them, that there's no people.
Yeah, there's no people at all. I mean, Tony Ortega put out an article on a Substack which reveals all the numbers, and 25 staff members, 3,000 GI, 3,000 gross income. That's how much money you're making per week from services and training and selling all of these courses. You know, it's
and when I was in management, that was called a small and failing org, a small failing organization that size. In other words, that organization was nowhere near an ideal organization. It was not St. Hill sized, which is what an ideal organization is supposed to be. It was all a facade when they opened it. They brought in all these staff to release it and cut the ribbons. And then over time, those people all left and went back to wherever they came from. And now you've got this small and failing org here in Las Vegas. And I'm sure it's like that in other cities as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's an absolute catastrophe. It's an absolute disaster. I mean, those uniforms, sure, they look nice and stuff. I mean, those are ideal org uniforms. So like in Scotland, you wouldn't wear that because it's not an ideal org. It's not one of those big fancy buildings from that 2004 program the chairman of the board released. It's so that's all fancy and stuff. And the buildings are buildings are great. I mean, Minneapolis, like literally, the chapel looks like Cineworld. It looks like it's just the biggest screen I've ever seen.
It's massive,
right?
Yeah.
But it's empty. It's empty. There's nobody there. Probably the staff don't even fill that room. You know, there's nobody there.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
so now what are you doing now going forward? I mean, obviously you've got to make a living and you've got to, move forward. You don't have to say what you're doing, but I mean, what's your plans for the near future and beyond?
Yeah, so I've been traveling mostly. Obviously, been in Arizona, been in Vegas, been in London, between London and Edinburgh, kind of back and forth. Was in East Grinstead for another event. So I'm staying extremely busy. There's several things behind the scenes that I'm working on that I cannot talk about right now as much as I'm dying to. But it will be massive when it comes out. Yeah. And I'm back into education. I've started just last week my acting school, so I'm back into film school and I'm doing that, going really, really hard into that, which is amazing and it brings me immense joy. So I'm just keeping busy, traveling and education and several other stuff. I'm just keeping extremely busy right now.
It's funny you mentioned motion pictures because we had long discussions on our car rides and otherwise about different motion pictures that we liked. And you've seen so many. I mean, you're so young, but you've seen so many pictures that are from thousands, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And we've talked about them because I've seen them and I love motion pictures as well. But we had a great time doing that, right?
Yeah, we did. It's so many. Like, even from 100 years ago, the Chaplin silent films before sound was even a thing. It was just so many films, thousands upon thousands, and we just we proper like we're me, you, Danielle. I don't think Alex was too much, but the three of us were like just going at it with like films that we had seen and our thoughts on them, and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, reminiscing about favorite scenes and things like that. It was great.
Totally.
Great fun. It made the car ride go very fast.
Right.
Yeah. Any final thoughts about your trip to America?
I can't wait to come back. I'm planning on going to HowdyCon. So I'm planning out several things. I hope to come back to Vegas. I hope to see you guys.
What are some of the biggest differences that you notice between the UK and America when you come as a visitor?
Scale and size is the first thing. I mean, meals, I don't think I finished breakfast once other than when Janis made me breakfast when I was staying at hers. I mean, but going out, I mean, we just stayed at the most amazing hotels, and I went to had breakfast at Trump Towers, and then totally wasn't planned. It was very spontaneous, but I ended up going there. Then I went to the MGM, and then I went to Caesars, and then so I was just eating at all these different places and going to absolutely everywhere, small diners and stuff. I don't think I finished. Again, that burger that you literally just pulled up a picture, I didn't even finish that. Like, it was just ridiculous. That was an absolute monster in my hand that was just like falling apart. I couldn't even, right.
Yeah. And then when we were in Williams, Arizona, in the Airbnb, it was massive. It was 3 bedrooms with a living room, dining room, and kitchen, right? 2 bathrooms. And it was huge. You know what I mean? It was like massive. And then Danielle told me that when you came back to Vegas, you stayed at the Suncoast Hotel and Casino. She said, "Oh, our rooms were like suites. They were so big."
I know, it was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, the view and the hotel, and just the scale and size of everything was amazing. The sphere, even simple things like the sidewalk and the road. I mean, it's just things like that. It's like we have a roundabout everywhere. You guys, for some reason, don't have that.
Yeah.
It's like quite amazing to see a roundabout in the States. It's just.
Yeah, Alex was amazed when, here's a roundabout. And we're going like, yeah, we hate them here because we're afraid that somebody's going to kill us, you know what I mean, when they're driving in it.
They're everywhere here, everywhere. If I walk out the house right now and turn right, there's a roundabout. It's just
I just remembered, too, you and Alex went bowling, too, right, at the Suncoast?
Oh, my God. Yeah, he likes to say he beats me, but that's totally not true at all. We went for some drinks, and then we were just like, bowling? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so we went. I can't even tell you the last time I went bowling. It's probably like a friend's birthday or something.
That was at the Suncoast, which the Hotel Casino has movie theaters and a bowling alley. I mean, restaurants, right? All in the same one location, and a casino.
All of it. It's massive. And we had a great time. We had a great time. We did everything, Mark. We did as much as we possibly could before the time was up to go back home.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you were able to come. It was definitely a pleasure having you and Alex and Danielle here and showing you around Las Vegas and going to the Grand Canyon. It was a pleasure for me as well because, I live a ways away, but it had been over 25 years since I'd been there. So it was nice to go.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. I'd never met you. I think it was, we came, it was late at night, and then it was the next. Okay, we went to bed immediately as soon as we arrived, and then the next day you came in and we just went out of the house immediately. And I remember meeting you for the very first time. Of course, Alex has before.
Yeah.
So it was great meeting you, and it was great meeting Janis, and it was great meeting everybody there.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Our sponsor of the show is her OUTBACK Naturals Complete Liquid Multivitamins. Get all your vitamins in a liquid form. You take 2 tablespoons or a little shot glass, drink it down. It's peach flavored. You refrigerate it, shake it up, and it's ready to go. And you don't ditch the pills, drink the power, as Janis likes to say. And you can order that right down below. Just go into the video description. There's a link in there to our merchandise store, and you can order Janis's Complete Liquid Multivitamins there, as well as her magnesium complex that she has, which is also a great product. And then, of course, if you'd like to read any of Janis's books, we've got both of them there. This is Commoner's Messenger Book 1. That's Janis with L. Ron Hubbard on the cover. And Commoner's Messenger Book 2, again, Janis with L. Ron Hubbard. And you can get autographed copies of them right down there in our merchandise store, and she'll ship them anywhere in the United States. Or if you'd like to order them on Amazon, you can do that as well. So anyway, we have to mention that for Janis. It is pretty amazing that when you see those photos of her with LRH, right? I still am like, every time I see it, I go like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Just that she was there during that time period.
Yeah, I feel that same way, but with everyone I met there, like Stuart. I'm like
Stuart Moreau, yeah,
right.
He was there that whole time.
He was there the whole time, and he was. To my surprise, he was absolutely hilarious. Honestly, just by the way, it's unintentional humor. It's like it's you being you and me finding that hilarious in how you view things. He's great, but him telling me about the whole LRH ED cine thing, right? About filming films in the desert, and him coming up with that, and how much of a senior executive he was. And it was other people that were telling me their experience with LRH directly, working with him as a kid and how they viewed him, and stories about him. It just completely amazes me. But yeah, I share that with you for sure.
Yeah, we've done about 8 interviews with Stuart. And so if anybody's interested in hearing Stuart's stories, you can just go. There's a playlist on our channel of Stuart Moreau interviews, and they're fantastic. I mean, he's not afraid to speak. That's for sure. Once he gets going, And the great thing about our interviews is that Janis has photographs too to show that time period, which is really amazing as well.
Yeah, they're all great, Mark. They're all great. Scott. So I'd never heard Scott's story before.
Scott Campbell's, that's an amazing story too. Yeah,
I sat down with you We were sitting down together, and you were like, "Yo, Amir, like, if you knew Scott's story, I mean, his story is just," and
it's horrific. I'd never heard anything like it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Immediately, I went and I watched the video that you guys did on your channel, and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah. When he told us that story, I knew nothing about it, and I was going like, "That's not the Scientology I know," And I believe him completely. But I'm going like, where did this come from that happened to him? Any of our viewers who want to see Scott Campbell's story, again, there's a playlist for his stuff too on our channel. So
amazing.
All right. Before I go, I wanted to let everybody know, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button. We appreciate people, subscribing to our channel. It helps get the word out there. If you have any questions or comments about what Amir and I talked about today, please go down in the comment section, questions. We will answer them. And then if you'd like to support our channel, you can buy us a coffee. Again, there's a link in the merchandise store, down in the video description next to the merchandise store where you can buy us a coffee. It's just a way to help offset the expenses that we have for the channel. And so that's what we have there. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end the video here?
No, just thank you, Mark. Thank you. The whole kind of thing about this video is also just me coming there. But I'm very grateful for you. You taking time out of your day to take us around and to show us Vegas and to take us to a different state, take us to Arizona, show us what that's like, all the stories that you had. And, I have a lot of time for that. And I really, really appreciate that, Mark.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure. And I hope to see you guys again soon. Maybe this time I'll come over to the UK and you guys can show me around.
Sounds great.
All right. All right, everybody. Until next time. Bye-bye. We'll see you later.